So I'm going to show you guys how I made over 100,000 coins in 1 minute just by converting my crown mimic stones into some very valuable star materials. So if you guys don't know what a crown mimic stone is, essentially what it is something you can get from the crown store, and that is frequently dropped from a couple of different sources, mainly from daily login rewards. And basically what this does is that it allows you to mimic any star material in the game, okay? Now, a lot of you guys might think this is worthless, this isn't something you really need, and that all these star materials aren't worth very much, but if you've seen a couple of my previous videos, you may have an inkling that this actually isn't the case, and that some star materials sell for quite a lot of money. And that's where we're going to be making our profit, because this month, the login reward is actually 5 crown mimic stones, and you can easily convert these into around 100,000 coins on Xbox, and potentially even more on PC, because those prices are quite inflated. So it's a really simple method. All we need to do then is essentially find out what is the most expensive star material on your server, alright? So I've done this already for Xbox, and what I can see is that the most expensive star material is a pristine Daedric heart, okay? So the reason these are so expensive is that you're only supposed to be able to get them by completing antiquities excavations in the Deadlands, alright? So they're supposed to be very rare, very niche, and very hard to get. But the method I'm about to show you guys just lets you produce as many of them as you actually want to, meaning that you have pretty much what is probably one of the hardest to obtain items in the game, and you can make it en masse, and it really doesn't take much effort. The only thing you're going to need is your crown mimic gems, and the only thing limiting your profit is going to be how many of those you actually have, okay? So we're going to be looking at the pristine Daedric hearts, and those on my server are selling for 25,000 coins each, okay? So just so you guys know what the correct star material for you guys to be creating is, you need to be price checking a couple of them, right? Like, it probably is also the pristine Daedric heart, but it's worth a check, alright? So what you want to do is use a price checking website or app. So you can use Tamriel Trade Center on PC, or for Xbox you can use the Tamriel Savings Co. We have that bot set up in our Discord. If you want to join that, there's a link in the description. Pretty easy for you to price check items there, okay? So really what you need to do is just whenever a new star material comes out, you just want to price check that to make sure that the pristine Daedric heart is still more expensive than the new one. So for example, the latest one out right now is Horns of the Hunt Beast. So you would just go and check to see if that's more expensive than a Daedric heart. In this instance, it isn't, so we're going to push on with the Daedric hearts, but it's just that kind of thing to let you guys know how to price check, how to check, especially if you're watching this video a little while from release, it could be different, alright? So what I'm going to do is, although I have over 110 of these crown mimic stones, I'm only going to be using 5 of them for the video, just to show you guys how it works and what the kind of rate is of getting the drops, okay? So there's a little bit of setup to do here, and I don't want you guys to miss out on that, so make sure you're following these steps before you get into the method, or you won't make as much money. And I know maybe you don't like setup, but this really is necessary. Now, 90% of you guys are already have gone and met all the level requirements for this, okay? It's not that high, it's not that hard to get, but if you are a newer player, I'm going to go over all the levels you need to be hitting here just to start this method, okay? So you're going to need to have a character that is around about champion point level 260, okay? Now it might sound a bit daunting, but you can probably hit that in a couple of hours realistically if you start the game fresh. So it is pretty beginner friendly, you don't need too much of a setup. Just need to be, again, CP level 260 there and abouts, just so we have enough green CP to slot into one of our passives, alright? Now what I'm going to do is link my leveling guide down below, so if you guys are sort of starting out, you can look at that and you can very quickly get yourself up to where you need to be, alright? So most of you guys probably already have this as well, but just going over it for anyone who's a little bit new, you guys need to level one of your crafting skill lines to level 50. So that can be your blacksmithing, your clothing, or your woodworking. Now again, what I'll do is leave a link in the description there, just for my crafting the leveling guide, okay? You will do this within about 4 or 5 minutes, okay? It really doesn't take very long at all, even if you are a new player. But again, hopefully a lot of you guys have this already set up. So what you need to do then is go into your green CP tree and slot all of the CP available into meticulous disassembly. This basically makes it so you have a higher chance of getting a star material back when deconstructing some items, alright? You also want to go into whatever one of the crafting skill lines you intend to use for this. Make sure you have the deconstruction passive fully maxed out. So for me it was metallurgy. I don't know how to say that word, it's not a real word to be absolutely honest with you, so leave me alone. But yeah, slot all your bosses into that one, alright? Now, once you've done both of those things, really all you have to do then, okay, is purchase an Ancient Daedric style motif. Now, I went for the daggers. Reason for that simply is it's the cheapest one of all the motifs I found on my server, so I would just recommend going to Mournhold, having a little browse around for any Ancient Daedric motif. Whatever one's the cheapest, just buy that. It really does not matter, as you see. And basically, all we have to do then is go to, for example, a blacksmithing table, if you bought a blacksmithing motif. And essentially, you're just going to go there, and for me, it's dagger, and we're going to choose the Ancient Daedric style. Now, obviously, I don't have any Daedric hearts. This is where we press the toggle to bring on our Crown Mimic Stones. And essentially what this does, it just acts as a pristine Daedric heart. And whenever we craft these, you can see that we can now deconstruct them. Okay, so same thing, just go into the anvil, go to deconstruct this time, select the 5 daggers we just made. We're just deconstructing these. And as you can see, I got 4 pristine Daedric hearts from my investment of 0 pristine Daedric hearts. So you can see how this works. Basically, the Mimic Stones get transformed into that item to go on to the dagger. And whenever we destroy the dagger, we get the actual item back and not a Mimic Stone, okay? So that is pretty much the crux of the moneymaker there. So one of the best ones in the game. As you can see, I could have done this for 110, okay? I could have made probably, what's that, around 2 million coins maybe. But I quite like to have my Mimic Stones just in case a new DLC comes out and I want to craft some furnishings or anything like that. I have enough gold to where I don't need to do this en masse, but for any of you guys who just have these lying around and you really don't care about them and you guys just want to make a little bit of extra money, this is an amazing money maker, so do give it a go. Now, in terms of selling these, okay, I recommend that I say this in pretty much every one of my videos that has to do with anything selling or trading, just join a high-end trading guild, okay? Like, make sure you're in a guild that is in Mournhold, preferably, or Elden or Wayrest. Really, everything else isn't as high level as that on my server. Anyway, so I would definitely recommend that you guys join a high level trading guild. Just list these things for whatever the maximum price you can sell them for is. So on my server, it is 25,000 coins, and you just wait for the profit to come in, okay? Now, over time, this may not be the very best stat material anymore, okay? So make sure you're always price checking a couple of them. Anytime there's a new one comes out, like a new furnishing style, a new like style material basically, just price check it, see if it's worth more than this Daedric heart, and go from there. You can potentially craft some different items, alright? If you guys want to get more detail on how you can do this on a daily basis without Crown Mimic gems, make sure to click on this video on screen right now to show you how.